Welcome to Meet the Candidates 2020, a voter education program brought to you by the Shakopee Chamber and Visitors Bureau. Our hope is that these candidate interviews and profiles will help you, the voter, understand your choices when it comes to casting your ballot in the 2020 elections. While we can all agree that an informed candidate is important, we believe informed voters make all the difference. So we ask you to arm yourself with the information necessary to make an educated choice and to make casting your vote a priority, regardless of how you do it this year, mail-in or in person. Please visit shakopee.org to find out all of the information you'll need to know about the upcoming election, including polling places and times, and a link to the Secretary of State website for mail-in voting options. Hi, and welcome to this edition of Meet the Candidates, a voter education program brought to you by the Shakopee Chamber and Visitors Bureau. My name is Angie Whitcomb, and today I am joined by candidate for Shakopee School Board, Ibrahim Mohamed. Ibrahim, thank you so much for joining us today. We appreciate it.
My pleasure. Thank you, Angie.
You're welcome. So, Ibrahim, why don't you start by giving us a brief introduction to yourself? Tell us about your past accomplishments and political and or volunteer experience.
Okay. Thank you for asking me this question. It's very important the voters to know who I am. I want to talk about a little bit my background. Mm-hmm. I came this country as a young immigrant from Somalia when I was 18. That time I survived from civil war in my country, and I came when I was 18, and I didn't know English at all. I came with my family, but some of them I lost in the civil war. But you know, I was very lucky. I was very fortunate because by the time of the civil war happened in my country, I'm done my high school. So I had a good foundation, and I had a dream, you know, to go college. Mm-hmm. But when I came, I was very lucky, very fortunate, come here as a young person early 90s, and then I started. I didn't know English at all, even one phrase. I started from scratch, and then I said, you know what, but I never forget my dream to go college. I started from scratch, learning English language, culture shock, that stuff, and then I went to adult school because high school wouldn't accept me. 18 is I would end up all the senior, yeah, super senior. So, but I did, what I did, and I learned, and I graduated college for finance, business management, my bachelor. Then, I worked on financial aid office, higher education. And then I said, you know what, I want to see the taste of the public schools. And then I started as an interventionist, a classroom interventionist, helping the ELL students to understand the subject. Even though they know the math, but they didn't know how to read well. So, and I wanted, to be helpful, and I really enjoy it. And then that led me, to get hired at Shakopee Schools, mm-hmm. As a cultural liaison, and I served with cultural liaison for 11 years. And what I have been doing was to help parents to make a successful school year. And also I was between the two cultures, and also I was advocate for the families at the same time for the district. And then I was balancing these things, and I did a good job. I am a parent. My children, they graduated, two of my children graduated from Shakopee High School. Now they are in University of Minnesota, and I have two others in Shakopee High School, one senior and one freshman and one elementary. The reason I'm mentioning this, I want voters to know my background and also to know that I am a parent that can relate the parents' perspective. And I know how it takes, raising elementary, middle school, and high school. And also I have a special need kid, so I can relate. And also I'm educated by profession. I'm licensed school counselor from K-12. I can relate the educator's perspective in Shakopee schools. And as a school counselor, I have been trained to deliver comprehensive school counseling, which provides equitable service to all students if they are high potential or low, or they need responsive services. And also my job is, to consult with the teachers how best we can meet student needs. That's what I do for a living. So I want to expand my service and do school board job, because I can be involved with, and I think it's very important to, for Shakopee residents to have someone like me, someone who knows the cultures. And also I used to train teachers for cultural competence. So if you don't know the person's culture, you cannot treat, you cannot teach, So that's what I have been doing. So I want to continue that service. Not only, my service was not limited in Shakopee schools. I also served Shakopee Diversity Alliance. I am one of the co-founders.
Yeah.
For Shakopee Diversity Alliance. It's an organization made of teachers, parents, educators, and all civic groups in order to have inclusive community members and embrace the diversity and be respected, all the people, regardless their gender, income, faith, because we are one community. Throughout these experiences led me to give it back to community and become voice of all students and all the community, whether they are color or white community, whatever, So that's why I am running. And also I want to utilize my background for the finance. At this time they need for the district and also education. So I have both.
Great. Well, you answered my first question, which what inspired you to run for the school board, and I think your reasons were well stated there. Is there anything you'd like to add on that first question, or should we move on to the next one? Because you touched on.
We can move.
Okay.
Thank you.
So, Ibrahim, Shakopee Public Schools has had no voter-approved operating levy, putting us about $1,250 per student below the metro average for spend. The last time our local voters approved an operating levy increase was more than a decade ago. So the proposed levy on the 2020 ballot phases money in per student over 4 years. But even then, when it's fully realized, we will still be below the metro average. Is Shakopee Public Schools spending enough money per student? And what is your recommended per student allowance?
To answer, the operating levy, I want to start with that. Operating levy is very important. Because as we know, the budget and the financial of the school come from three parts, from the federal and the state and also local. So the operating levy, it will take care, not, we are building or something like that. It's operating, it's the expenses, like the teacher's salaries, custodian, and bus drivers, and food services. All those things are very important. If they don't have food, the kids on the table in the school, they cannot learn.
Yes.
So it's serious. So first, I encourage all voters to vote yes, because it's very important. And so also it's our responsibility. They do that. Let me come back to the answer. I would like to see at least the Shakopee schools to have some allowance as metro schools have, but we are not there yet. Our focus is now is to stand by our students and schools to pass this operating levy. Without this levy, the district will suffer, and we will not have what we have now.
Do you have a number in mind for what your recommended per student allowance should be for Shakopee students?
I don't have a number in my mind. I will, when I become a board member, and I'm good at numbers, I can get it, and then I think that's the time I can talk about number. But what I wanted to see at least is Shakopee School to have same allowance with the metro schools have.
Okay.
That's
great.
what I would recommend now.
Sure. Great. Thank you. So what is your opinion, Ibrahim, on how the school district has responded to the COVID-19 pandemic?
First, before I respond exactly, I want to talk about a little bit background for the COVID-19. COVID-19 is a global threat, not only in Shakopee schools. Nobody knows. It's a relentless virus that affecting everyone. It reminds me my refugee experience in Kenya when I see the COVID-19. That's why I'm running. And to come back to answer your question, Angie, I was impressed how well they planned the response of the COVID-19 or schools, because they put advisory group and listen to the community input, and they made whatever decision they made through that group. Now they are offering IHD, what they call I stands for in-person learning, and H is a hybrid, and D is a distance learning. Students have choices the way they want to learn. If they want to come in person, they can follow the rules, like the social distancing and wearing mask and hand washing and frequent, and they will follow everything. And I visited the school, the high school yesterday. My kids started.
Sure.
That was wonderful. The staff is ready, the custodian is ready, and they disinfecting every other class. And also, they don't allow groups come together. Everywhere there is a para or educator that guiding students. I think they have a good plan. And also, what I was impressed is that kindergartners they are here every day, because it's very important, because kindergarten is where it starts everything. Even preschool, other studies noted, early childhood is very important.
Yeah.
Because when they go through and learn, how to do things, how to hold the pen and how to cut, they are learning. So that foundation will start, a good kindergartner. So now we are lucky, I don't have a kindergartner. My kid is grown up, but I can reflect in high school. I can reflect university student, and I have elementary special needs. So I agree with them, and they did good job.
Great.
What else they can do?
Yeah.
And also they are following all MDH guidelines and Scott County Public Health. And also they are looking at the numbers, the rate of infection.
Yeah.
So it's a science-based and also community input-based. And that's why I like, serving in Shakopee schools.
Great. So my last question before we have you do a closing statement, Ibrahim, is what has the existing school board done well? And what are the opportunities for improvement?
Okay. The board, I met a couple of current school board members, and I think they have done a nice job. They made budget cut for $2.5 million. Why they are doing that? Because they want to take part this problem. And then what they did was, they approved the operating levy to be in November ballot. So now the ball is voters' court. So they have to respond. So they did well so far, and they are good people, and also they are not taking the stipend. So that shows, we have a nice board members.
Where is room for improvement on the board?
Thank you. There is always room for improvement, and Shakopee, the school board members, they have to involve it for the community. They have to be involved with, they have to talk to the business people, like the Chamber of Commerce, YMCA, Alena, and Scott County, and everywhere. And also they have to talk to the community members. I know this is a wonderful community. I remember, and they are supporting for the schools. And also that you can see, the last survey they have done, 93% of Shakopee parents or residents, they care about, the education. And they know, the good education is linked for the success of the students.
Perfect. Ibrahim, in our last few seconds here, why don't you give our voters a closing statement or a message as to why they should vote for you in the November election?
Okay, I want to greet all Shakopee voters. My name is Ibrahim. I am an educator. I am a parent. I know the programming in Shakopee schools. We have a good programming. Always there is a room for improvement. If you elect me, if you vote me, I will make sure that I will bring a trust. And also, I'm not naive. I am someone who knows what's going on in Shakopee schools. I have a financial background and I have a education background. I care about our students. I care about my community. I will do my best to embrace the educational equity and advocate for every child to have as many opportunities as possible in Shakopee schools. Together we will overcome these challenges and come out even stronger. I'm looking forward the opportunity for earning your votes and the trust. Thank you very much, and God bless. We are Shakopee, we are strong.
Thank you, Ibrahim. And thank you for joining us for this episode of Meet the Candidates 2020. Thank you for watching Meet the Candidates 2020, a voter education program brought to you by the Shakopee Chamber and Visitors Bureau. Please visit our website at shakopee.org for all of the information you'll need to know leading up to the November 3rd election.